Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be going over the Carnival of Corpses event. I'm just going to give you a little run through guide on how to basically get everything out of this event. It does seem to be kind of split into a couple of sections. There is a Brutus in here. This will be Brutus number 5. Let's get into the main info on the event itself. So first up, we'll just take a look at the event times, and it's just mainly the end times. We can see the end time of the event is 27th of July, 5 PM Pacific time, and in exactly 24 hours, the stash, level up challenge mission, and the grey markets will also end. So you have a 24 hours like grace period to actually get those things done, which is kind of the norm. This obviously does mean it lasts for 2 weeks overall. Now there is a character attached to this event. It is Mateo himself. And being effectively the free-to-play character of the Outlanders Mythic Trial, this is kind of standard at this point. So the first thing I want to bring your attention to is the login calendar. This is going to span the entirety of the event, and you only need to log in for 7 days to get this. For those active peeps out there, that's not going to be too much of an issue. And on day 1, you get 1 copy of Mateo himself. He will be needed to run the roadmaps. We'll just keep that in mind. You also get 8 of these barbells. They're going to be used as energy for roadmaps, which we'll check out in a second. And then you get 6 headshot tokens, which will be used on the stash. So these are just numbers we want to keep in mind to add to things that we can calculate where we get elsewhere, just to see how many of these tokens, how many of these barbells as energy we can actually get our hands on. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and claim that first Mateo. I would say you want to upgrade this character to grade 4, just to be able to actually, get a decent grade on him. He'll get some stats, but I wouldn't level him up until you get him to grade 5, just because of how the level up system works. You get less points based on their grade. As long as they're grade 5 or above, you'll get the maximum amount of level up points you can get. Now the first thing we're going to focus on is going to be how to get those other Mateos. You can see that all 4 of the Mateos are in the stash. There are 100 pulls required. This is pretty much like the Eva event. I think it's pretty much like the Molly event as well. There is no second stash here. It is just a single stash by the looks of things. And you can see the odds breakdown here. You can get 1% chance of getting a Mateo. There are obviously 4 of them, so it's a 4% chance overall. And I believe there's no second stash. It doesn't look like there is. And you have actually got a sort now. That's interesting. I like that quite a lot. But now we scroll down, you can just see you're going to be able to get basically the stuff you're going to need to upgrade your Mateo. There are missions to actually upgrade Mateo as well, where you get rewarded, so I'll check those out in a second. If you get all the pulls in the stash, you will be able to get a stat Paragon mod. It'll be completely RNG on what comes out of it. It'll be a stat-based mod, so the top left, and it'll be completely RNG which set it's going to be. Now to do pulls on this stash, you will need those headshot tokens. And you can get these headshot tokens in various ways. So the main place you're going to be getting these headshot tokens is going to be the daily missions, where you're going to be required to take down walkers in this case. It could be take down fighters. It could be do SR stages, do raids. It's the daily missions. It lasts for 24 hours. You get 5 tokens per day. And this is going to come up 14 times during that 2-week event. Unsurprisingly, if it's a daily mission, that's how it should work. And you're going to be able to get 70 tokens, and that's 70 pulls on that stash just from running the daily missions here. You also, of course, get those 6 pulls from the login calendar, so that'll be over 75% of the stash completion just from the daily missions and that login calendar. However, there is a roadmap on the go too, and it is the Mateo roadmap. This is why they gave you a version of Mateo, because you do need Mateo to run this roadmap. This is where you're also going to get these Brutus shards. We'll talk about those in a minute. But you actually get, from running this, every single stage gives you a headshot token. And I believe the grand total of stages in this is 24. There is, like, for whatever reason, randomly a stage with an act here with only 4 stages for some reason. The rest have 5. This one has 4. It's kind of weird, right? Kind of weird. And then lastly, we have 5 on the last one here. So you're going to be able to get 24 from here. And I guess they did it that way because they only want to give out exactly 100 tokens, because that would be exactly 100 headshot tokens. So complete all of the missions on a daily basis, get that login calendar reward, and complete this roadmap, and you'll be able to do 100% of that stash, guaranteeing yourself all 5 Mateos and that Paragon mod. Now, coming back to the roadmap, that you can see that it does require barbells as the energy to run this roadmap. And of course, it does require Mateo, like I said at the top. This is the final act, so this is the most expensive it's going to be. And this, obviously, rarity, grade 1 to limit break 3, can be any grade to actually get him done. So no problem at all with Mateo, he just has to be in the team. So a grand total of 24 of these barbells. You do get 8 from the login calendar. And there are also some missions that run throughout the event that are also going to reward them as well. And that is the Road to St. Louis mission event. And that is going to reward 16 from completing this. You have to complete SR stages to actually get this done. You can do this on the daily SR, but you could also just start a daily SR stage and just flee. So as you can see, I can go to my daily SR, go into a stage. I'm on my second region at the moment because I've already done this on my primary region, just to actually be able to show the stuff live. I just click attack, and then I just click flee, and then I back out, and I'll get an update on the actual mission itself. As you can see, I'm now 1 out of 5. You have to do a grand total, I believe, of 140 stages, so you would have to attack, flee, attack, flee, attack, flee 140 times, and you'll be able to actually just get all of the 16 barbells here instantly. So back on my main region here, I'm going to just do exactly the same thing. I've done this quite a few times already on this region. I'll start the fight and flee, and it will get me the last 2 rewards here, which would be 1 dumbbell for hitting 140 stages, and then an extra 4 for fully completing it. This does mean I have 16 barbells, and I would be able to get onto stage 1 of Act 4. I would obviously have to wait a little bit just to get the other barbells from the login, but if I was slightly impatient, I could buy them from in the store, and it also helps that I can get them that way if I do fail a stage. They aren't too expensive either. They're only 75 coins per barbell. So if you wanted to just complete that roadmap as soon as possible, just to be able to get the Brutus on there, that's definitely a way to do it. And talking of Brutus, as you can see, that's the 4,000 shards. It's very accessible on this event. He's been very accessible in all of the events he's been part of. This would be Brutus number 5, but you might get this Brutus before you get the Wanderer event Brutus. But you might get this Brutus before you get the barely hungry version of the Brutus. But at least, obviously, the shards combine, so you'll just get version number 4 really quickly and version number 5 just a little bit down the line. So LB3 Brutus has not been too hard to come and buy at all. He's definitely a useful character, guys. I'm for sure going to be running some guides on this character. And I think he has some great potential in terms of combos with the likes of Scotsman and a command for sure. More info on that one to come in the future, but it is great that people have been able to get their hands on Brutus. Definitely a fan favourite and a solid character, no doubt. Now lastly, as you can see, there is the Mateo Level Up Challenge, and this is basically going to reward you for leveling up Mateo, and I'd say this is worth doing at least a reasonable amount of, if not all of it, just to get some extra rewards. You may not want to actually use your medals on this character in terms of tiering them up, but you are going to be able to get some gold mythic tokens, some silver characters, your choice of cans in here. I definitely pick up SR cans in here. And if we could keep scrolling down, we can see that we are going to get some platinum mods. These are RNG, and then guaranteed attack mods, and then graze on attack, which is questionable. Attack versus alert on attack is very good. Attack while taunted on attack is pretty good. Daze resist on attack is okay, but the attack on attack is great. There is going to be some extra of the silver medals that I've already claimed. But if you get everything, you will be able to get his special weapon. And it isn't the weapon he's got in his hands, but actually it potentially could be just fully upgraded. Because when it's upgraded, it always just looks different. This weapon is pretty good, I will be honest. I would have preferred it have like 40% attack, so that if you actually like the base stats, you just take it up to 55%. And if you didn't like the base stats, you could change one thing and then take it up to 50%. But the way it stands, if you don't like naming shot, you'd put 1535 there, and then you'd increase it to 45% attack. I'm most likely going to do that. 60% a chance to impair an enemy when attacking is really good. And if you still use Trader as your attack leader, that's going to work fantastically well. So that's it for the little preview of this event, guys. It does look accessible to get everything, except potentially the level up missions are going to be the only thing that's maybe going to be a bit harder to actually do. That part is completely optional. It's not going to stop you from getting any of the characters. Brutus is separate. Mateo, actually acquiring Mateo is separate Those two things are very, very clearly got a good avenue to actually get your hands on them. Just make sure you keep up with the daily missions. That is where you're going to get the majority of your headshot tokens. And you can't miss any of the rewards here at all on the daily missions for the headshot tokens, or you will miss pulls on the stash. And that does mean you'll miss out on the Paragon mod. And you could potentially get unlucky too and miss out on one or even multiple Mateos. Now do tell me your thoughts on the event as a whole. Do you like the structure of this event? Are you going to be going for that weapon in the level ups? Do you want to actually max out Mateo to actually get that done? I do like the weapon. I'm probably going to go for it. I have got a reasonable amount of medals at the moment, so it's not too much of an issue. If I was extremely low, I would hate myself for doing it, because I don't know if Mateo is going to be too legit for me personally. But like I said, any thoughts in the comments down below, guys. That is it in my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.